Hey guys, Wash Boss here. As many of you know, I'm a white goods domestic appliance engineer, and I just thought I'd show you guys what I do from day to day if anyone's interested. We've got a indesit washing machine here with a leaky dispenser. It's causing a lot of damage to the machine and the floor, as you can see. So that's what we're going to be doing today. We're going to be changing the dispenser. I've got all the parts with me here. So we'll get to it. To remove the fascia panel, there's two screws either side of it, and a couple of clips on the fascia PCB, and then there's two screws that sit in either side, and this whole unit just lifts away. Obviously, make sure the machine is unplugged before doing any work, so you don't end up in more of a mess than the washing machine. But yeah, let's carry on. So we have two wires on the back of the dispenser. These just unclip. You push the little tab in here, and then you can pull these wires out. To remove the dispenser itself, there's two Phillips head screws in the actual dispenser itself. So you take both of these out, and then the dispenser should lift away. So when you've removed the screws, you just give the little drawer a tug. Be prepared for a little bit of water. I have a towel down on the floor just in case. And then that releases the dispenser drawer from the valves, so you can then proceed. Right, so you can see where the dispenser's been leaking. Obviously it's rusted and corroded some of the machine, but we've caught this one really just in time. To pull the dispenser out, you have this, what we call the dispenser to tank hose here. This is also being replaced today, but essentially you just have to try and pull it off the drawer like this. It's a bit difficult to do with one hand, so bear with me a second. Once you've got the hose off the side of the dispenser unit, you can essentially just give it a sharp pull up, and it comes disconnected, and that's your dispenser there. So you can see where the machine has built up with limescale over the last couple of years, and that's why we are leaking. So we've got a new one here, so we'll put that together and we'll refit that. Right, so we have our nice new dispenser here. Obviously no corrosion or limescale anywhere on it, so we're going to fit this in a moment. But what we need to do first is we need to just shove it over a little bit. So we need to change this hose here, the dispenser to tank hose, because this has also been leaking by the looks of it. To getting right, so getting these out can be a little bit fiddly, and getting them in even more fiddly. So I'll show you guys how to do it. Give me a second. Right, to get these hoses off, essentially you just need to get your hand in where it attaches to the drum. It's a bit awkward to show. Give it a little bit of a squeeze and a pull, and it should come out. It says, just like that. There you go. So yeah, you can see all the gunge and the crap that's built up on this hose and the machine over the years. So we're going to be changing this as well. Make sure when you're changing one of these hoses that you clean the edge up all around here where the new pipe's going to attach to the drum, so you obviously don't create or cause any further leaks. Right, so to gain better access also to this hose when we are fitting the new hose to the washing machine, there should be a spring-loaded clamp around the door, which is just down here. So slip something small and thin into the spring and pull it towards you, and it will come out, and just give it a good pull, just like that. And then that will allow you to peel the door seal back out of the way, so you can see where you're going to be fitting the hose. I won't lie to you guys, this is a little bit of a fiddly job, so it may take a bit of patience. I know I don't do them first time, but we'll see how we go. Right, that's the tank to dispenser hose changed and fitted to the machine. They are really awkward to fit, unfortunately. Especially being an indesit where you can't remove the front panel. But what you have to do, if it focuses, is this inner lip here sits inside the drum, and then this outer lip sits on the outside of the drum. Essentially, it's all press and feel, so you just press it round into the drum until you feel it sort of slit into place, like that. So you can see the inner edge is in the drum, and the outer edge is sitting on the edge of the drum. So it just means all we've got left is the dispenser to fit. So we'll do this now. Okay, right, so the first thing to do before fitting it back to the valve is to reconnect the hose to the drawer. Essentially this just slides onto the drawer, and then obviously you've got your pull sort of tie strap thing, and that sits on the plastic lug that sits out the side of the machine. When refitting these dispensers, make sure that you've got your rubber grommets or O-rings, whatever you want to call them, are sitting flush on the valve and they've not come off on the old one, because if you don't fit the rubber grommets, then the machine will leak all over the place. So essentially what you do is you've got these two holes, and you essentially line them up and then press the new dispenser down onto the valve as such, just into it, and then you should have two screw holes, which then you put the plastic Phillips head screws back in and secure them in place. So we'll put one there, and we'll put the other one there. And then it's just a case of retightening these screws back up, just like that. So you've got your two Phillips screws, they screw back in, and then just re-plug your wiring back into the valve, and then that should all be okay. And that's it. So that's your dispenser unit changed. Now this just sits on the brackets on the side of the machine here, and that essentially stops the dispenser, should I say, from moving while you refit the front panel. So the next thing to do is this brace bar comes down and screws in here and screws in here. Okay guys, right, so when that's all fitted and that's all back and screwed in place, the next thing to do is obviously fit your fascia panel back to the front of the machine. The way to do that is essentially you've got little lugs on the bottom, and they go in these holes that are all along the sort of bottom of the front panel of the washing machine. Make sure your dispenser also lines up at the top so you can screw it all back in nice and evenly. Right, okay, so when you've got everything lined back up, you've got two screws, you've got one there, and you've got one in here. So the machine should look nice and flush with the dispenser should look nice and flush with the front panel. So then all that's left to do really is line your dispenser back up and push it into place, like so. And then replace the two screws that come out of the fascia. You've got one here and you've got one here. So we'll do that now quickly. You've got one in there, and you've got one in there. Make sure after you've put the screws in that everything looks okay and all lines up as it should. Make sure you haven't pulled this wire out of the fascia board in the process of dismantling the machine, because I've done that before. And then all that leaves is to refit the door seal and the outer retaining band and give it a test. So we'll do that now. So to refit these door seals, the outer lip of the door seal sits on the lip of the washing machine. Essentially you pull it back and feed it all the way around until you've gone all the way around and made sure that the whole thing fits and it's nice and flush with the machine. So we'll do this now. Right, when that's all done, you fit the outer retaining band. So this is the metal wire that we pulled off, and it sits in the groove of the door seal. Please bear in mind that some of these are a lot harder to do than others on some machines. I know the Beko springs can be quite difficult. If you're struggling, then don't worry, it may take a couple of attempts to do it. But the indesit ones and the hotpoint ones are thankfully nice and easy, and just clip in like that, nice and easy. And that's the door seal refitted. So we'll close the door and we'll plug the machine back in and we'll give it a test. Right, so we'll plug the machine back in. and it's come up, it's programmed to a rinse, which is going to take 50 minutes, but obviously I'm not going to let it do it the rinse. So we'll press start and we'll see what happens. Right, so the water's come on now. Make sure while the machine is filling that you've got no leaks. So check the water valve, make sure it's not leaking, make sure it's all sitting nice and flush. Make sure when the machine is filling that you've got no leaks that you can see coming out of the dispenser all around the door. Obviously the telltale sign of a leak on the washing machine will be on the floor. So I'll give this a couple of minutes and we'll see what happens. So I've put the top back on the washing machine and pushed it back into place. As you can see, it's filled with water, and we've got no further leaks coming out of the washing machine. So it all seems good to go, really. I'm not going to let it do obviously the full 47 minutes. I'm just making sure that it stops filling, and if it stops filling then I'll stick it on a drain out, and that should be it. So there you go, machine stopped filling, it's filled up to the correct level, still no leaks, so we have a winner. Right, so we'll cancel this program off, I'll drain the machine down, and yeah, that's it for this repair. This is what I do on a daily basis. So let me know in the comments if you'd like to see more of this. Thanks for watching, guys. Any questions, let me know. Cheers, bye.